The senior officials in charge of importing fertilizer were transferred as they had failed to call tenders for the import of fertilizer, even though it has been 3 months since the Cabinet of Ministers approved the purchase of urea fertilizer for the Maha season. The Ministry of Agriculture says there is a risk of an increase in the price of all types of fertilizer, including urea, in the global market due to the ongoing conflicts between several nations. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, if the fertilizer was purchased during the months of May, when the approval of Cabinet was received, it would have been possible to purchase urea fertilizer at a very low price. Accordingly, at that time, it was possible to purchase 1 metric ton of urea fertilizer for about $350. However, now, the price of a metric ton of urea has exceeded $650 in the global market. The Ministry of Agriculture announced that the government has incurred a massive loss as a result of this.
Will the price of fertilizer increase under this situation?
The Ministry of Agriculture says there is a risk of an increase in the price of fertilizer in the coming season. Its Secretary Gunadasa Samarasinghe says that this situation arose following the suspension of the fertilizer supplied from China. The Secretary added that ample urea fertilizer is available in the country for this farming season. He also said that stocks of urea fertilizer will be received by the 20th of November.
Is it possible to provide the required amount of fertilizer for the season?
Urea fertilizer. The amount of urea fertilizer required for the paddy and maize cultivations in the coming season is 150,000 metric tons. However, only 72,000 metric tons of urea fertilizer is available in the country. This includes a stock of 20,000 metric tons in government stores and 52,000 metric tons of urea fertilizer in the private sector. The National Fertilizer Secretariat says that 20,000 metric tons of urea fertilizer has been distributed among farmers so far. MOP fertilizer. Director of the National Fertilizer Secretariat Chandana Lokuheva says that 25,000 metric tons of MOP fertilizer is required for the upcoming farming season. The amount of MOP fertilizer currently available in the country is 50,000 metric tons. The government is in possession of 30,000 metric tons and the private sector has 20,000 metric tons. TSP fertilizer. TSP fertilizer is required at the start of the next farming season. 20,000 metric tons of TSP fertilizer is required for the season. At present, the government has distributed all the TSP fertilizer in their stores and the private sector has only 5,000 metric tons. The private sector also has 2,000 metric tons of SSP fertilizer, which is used as a substitute for TSP fertilizer. Director of the National Fertilizer Secretariat Chandana Lokuheva added that another 10,000 metric tons of TSP fertilizer will be imported within the next 2 months. The Maha season. The annual requirement of rice for the entire country is met by the harvest of the Maha season, which runs from October to February. At present, in some areas, the cultivation for the Maha season has begun and some farmers can be seen tilling their lands. TSP fertilizer should be used to provide the required phosphorus nutrients to the crops during the first week of cultivation, following which urea fertilizer should be used within 2 weeks' time to fulfill nitrogen requirements of the crops. Afterwards, to provide the required potassium to the crop, MOP fertilizer is used between 4 and 6 weeks of planting. Due to the organic fertilizer policy introduced by the previous government, fertilizer was not provided to the farmers at the right time and there was a significant decrease in their harvest. Later, the price of rice, which was around 60 rupees in the market, exceeded 220 rupees and the government had to bear a massive cost to import rice. The Aragalaya that led to the downfall of the entire government also began with the protest staged by farmers against not receiving fertilizer on time.
What has really happened? Following a meeting held today, the Minister of Agriculture gave this response regarding the fertilizer issue.
දැන්ටමත් කන්නේ ආරම්භ වන විටම
As the season begins, steps have been taken to provide fertilizer. They have been sent to the Agrarian Development Department. The private sector has become more active than usual. They have imported large quantities of fertilizer. They are involved in the distribution of fertilizer as well. We are providing our farmers with the opportunities to purchase fertilizer at a low cost from wherever they can. Moving forward, we also plan on providing financial aid as well. We will be transferring funds to the accounts of the farmers.
ගිනුමට සල්ලි ලබා දීමක් තමයි මේ වතාවේ සිද්ධ කරන්නේ.
However, farmers in Ampara recently said that despite the minister's statement, the reality on the ground is different. At the Ampara Farmers Committee meeting held on the 13th of the last farming season, the farmers pointed out that despite the land preparation for cultivation having begun, they have not yet received the TSP fertilizer they require.
15,000 rupees per hectare and 30,000 rupees per 2 hectares have been prepared to be remitted to the account of the farmer. This breaks down to 1,500 rupees per acre and 3,000 rupees per half acre. The government's prices for fertilizers include 50 kilograms of urea at 9,000 rupees per bundle. Additionally, the government has set the price of MOP fertilizer at 14,000 rupees for a 50 kilogram bundle. We have not yet decided a price for TSP. In the open market, TSP is currently available for prices ranging between 12,000 and 14,000 rupees.
When it comes to the recommendation that you mentioned, when you provide 6,000 rupees per acre, can the farmer buy all of that for 6,000? A bundle of urea fertilizer at the Department of Agrarian Development is 9,000 rupees and they cannot get the TSP as well. The farmer is no longer allowed to take loans from the banks. Why is that? The farmers cannot pay the loans back. We would like to ask how this recommendation was made for fertilizer.
However, paddy cultivation in the Maha season in the Ampara district must be done between the 10th of October and the 10th of November.